terms of our agenda for today, I wanted to provide just a high-level overview of the state of the market from our point of view. Chip and Mike are going to go into the specific levers that we're seeing, especially in today's current environment with respect to how organizations are right-sizing all aspects of their SAP relationship, and certainly, a perspective on the framework of how to set the foundation for you to be successful, at least from an upbridge point of view, and what our experiences have been, and how clients have, managing an SAP relationship and that SAP ecosystem is certainly what we'll go through as well. So why don't we get started just in terms of the state of the market? We're seeing companies fall into really three categories. Ones that are still in acceleration mode, those that have put some of those transformation initiatives on hold temporarily, and then others that have canceled their transformation initiatives. But one thing that's common across all of those organizations that we've been having interaction with is that a holistic approach to evaluating the entire SAP ecosystem is well underway. So, in terms of the evaluation, this is where Chip and Mike are going to go particularly deep, evaluating software and support, your direct relationship with SAP, evaluating rigorously the implementation services that you're getting across maybe many different SIs that you're interfacing with today. The hosting and infrastructure strategy is certainly getting turned upside down, and the application maintenance portion as well. There's a lot of innovation that's happening in that space.
Before we actually dive into the levers for cloud, on-prem, and software support, what are we seeing from SAP in terms of revenue? So in Q1, for year-over-year earnings, SAP revenue is up 7% overall. But when you actually dissect that a little further, what you see is it's a mixed bag. Cloud revenue was up 29% year-over-year, but software license revenue was actually down 31%, and that's significant. And really, that is a byproduct of SAP's maintenance announcement earlier this year, which we'll talk more about. On the cloud side, the biggest thing I would note is that as part of the Q1 announcement, SAP has really pivoted. And really what they did is they started talking about current cloud backlog. So I think anticipating the fact that they may not have particularly strong Q2s and Q3s, SAP, like the likes of AWS, is pivoting to talking about current cloud backlog instead of just focusing on in-quarter wins. So, we do a lot of assessments of indirect versus digital. And what I would say is 9 out of 10 times, the indirect access model is actually more cost-effective for customers versus the digital access model.
So just a couple of clarifications or questions that we have. One of the questions from the audience was, can you describe indirect access versus digital access? That's an entire webinar, but at a 50,000-foot level, just to describe that to folks, the indirect access model is effectively a historical indirect access based upon users in certain engines for sales and service order processing engine. That's kind of the historical piece. The digital access piece is specifically around 9 different document types.
And I think as it relates to just really what we're thinking about and what we're seeing is as far as an overall strategy, and you mentioned this also kind of off the hop too, is driving a high degree of alignment internally as it relates to how you want to approach your SIs in this time, whether you're delaying, whether you're canceling, or whether you're maintaining the velocity and progress of your implementation. And once you've determined and obtained that high degree of internal alignment across all the different stakeholders you mentioned, line of business people, transformation executives, finance, and IT, is being transparent with your SIs as it relates to what it is you're going to try to achieve, and then being intellectually honest with them about, look, this is the money we have, these are the opportunities we have to see from a cost perspective. We're looking for a likewise level of transparency into you, Mr. SI, and business SI, as it relates to what are your revenue requirements, what flexibilities do you have, what sort of margin room do you have in order to keep or cut a particular deal in order to move forward, and then really align on what's possible within the confines of your existing or potential engagements with your SIs in order to continue to move forward to be successful.